Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucks. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, I guess, if you could call it that.
I just call it that because that's what we're used to saying. But if it's not happy for you listening, it's okay. I understand. We have a lot to talk about today. Fortunately, the Pirates are 6-3. Robin didn't expect us to be talking about the 6-3 Pirates this Monday. But that's going to be overshadowed by some other news that we are going to talk about today.
Yeah, typically if you're 6-3, you're probably in a good mood, but I think it's hard for people to be in a good mood today.
Right. I can understand. So if you're wondering why we're talking about that, which if you're wondering why, where have you been? Oneil Cruz has a broken ankle. We talked about last night on the post game just a tad. Obviously, he went down for the game. It looked really bad. I was kind of speculating. It looks like a really, really bad rolled ankle. Probably a 10-day IL stint coming up. But no, confirmed fractured. And with that, obviously he's going to surgery. We're going to hear more details. This is a lot of speculation, but I can only imagine he's probably out for at least 2 months at this point in time. At least.
Yeah, you want to head into our single shot?
Let's do it. Don't tell me how to do my job, Jim. Because I don't know how to do my job.
yeah, definitely a super unfortunate event yesterday. Oneil Cruz heading home on a ground ball by Brian Hayes to third base, throw home. And it was just one of those things where I don't think Cruz had decided whether or not to slide. And then at the very last minute, he said, oh, maybe I'll try doing something here. And it didn't work out. No. Slide didn't work, slid too late. Knee kind of buckled up underneath him, ankle rolled underneath him, so it didn't look good. He was screaming in pain on the ground for a couple minutes as benches cleared,
essentially brawling like on top of him.
Yeah. It seems like it's an ankle and not necessarily a knee, which isn't good, but perhaps the ankle is better than the knee. Like I said, we'll get more information as this comes out, but like you said, it's at least 2 months, and that's on the the hopeful side of things that it's only 2 months. But this could be longer, just kind of depending on how bad it is. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Oneil Cruz now going to be out a prolonged period of time, whether that's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, the year, I don't know. We'll find out more here in the coming days, but yeah, just a super unfortunate event that occurred at a time when Pirates fans should be in a good mood, but yeah, here we are. No Oneil Cruz for a while.
We are. And that's the thing. This is like we talked just a hair on the show last night, but this was like that big coming out party for Cruz. We saw him enter the league, well, actually 2 years ago for those feud games, but, last year for the long stay, the second half. And obviously we keep alluding back to when he goes to leadoff spot last year, how the numbers just improved and, how that could translate into this year. You come into spring training, like, well, let's take a look at the Oneil Cruz. He's changed his approach a little bit. He's still a beast of a player. He still has all these tools and talents, but the guy goes into the season. He had, seven walks, because yesterday he walked, right? So 7 walks in 9 games.
Yeah.
Just like looks like a different guy. this could be a real big year for him. And that's great news for Pirates fans. Like, you need some of this stuff. You've watched the Pirates over the past few years. Try out Anthony Alford Jr.'s there. Anthony Alford, sorry, no juniors. And Kai Thompson. Like all these really, really bad lineups. And now you have a glimpse of like the actual future and the production and what he can present and 3 stolen bases. And it's like, wow, like Oneil Cruz breakout season coming. And then he fractures his ankle. There's already the Brian Reynolds contract extension talks looming, and now it's like the hope and that was in the Pirates fans breast is just all gone now. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Everyone keeps going back to this too, like the Jason Kendall injury, and like I'm not. Maybe I'm just wrong, but I'm not putting anywhere near that because that was just totally gruesome.
Yeah.
This looks just like a fractured ankle. Not to minimize it, but.
Yeah, like when it first happened, I was thinking it was the knee, but then when we kind of looked at the replay a little bit closer, you can kind of tell that it was the ankle. Yeah, and I guess if you're comparing it to something in the past, not really. Kendall's was like a clean break. You saw the bone coming out of the leg. Just not necessarily. Yeah, this was a little different. It wasn't as bad as that, right? So. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be a prolonged period of time that he's going to be missing. Let's say absolute best case scenario here is he's back in 2 months. I think you're probably better off, pushing that out a month or so. 3 months is probably more realistic here, unless it's even worse than what we think.
Right. And that's the thing. And it's considered a fracture right now. We don't know how much is involved. Are there also like it is a fracture, but are there also some torn ligaments or damaged ligament stuff? Like it's just a clean break. That's probably the best news you can have considering like the circumstances. Like you said, like it's not an ACL or even like an MCL. Like there's no tear in the knee. Again with the ankles, I mean, are there tears there? Obviously nothing with Achilles, but like if it's just a clean break, that probably is the best news. But no news is good news in this situation. All news is bad news that comes out of it, but like a clean break probably is the most beneficial bad news that would come out. And like you said, it's probably 2 months minimum. You have the rehab assignment. I don't know. This could be the end of Cruz this year. I would assume this isn't going to be the end of Cruz, next year, especially how early the season is. Like he should, I'm assuming, come back full strength next year. But yeah, I mean, with it being the middle of April right now, his season's in jeopardy, and that kind of stinks because again, like you were looking for this Cruz breakout season for the future. How's he gonna turn this, this thing going, get this thing going? Is he gonna be a 30-30 type player? Is he gonna get on base? Is gonna become more of a complete player? And he was showing a lot of steps that way. So like this is very, very unfortunate in that sense.
Yeah, I mean he was looking like a elite leadoff hitter these first 9 games of the season. His on base percentage 375, and like the fact that he was just having this different approach to the plate and getting on base and laying off balls in the dirt and balls, that like when pitchers were clearly pitching around him at times, but he would kind of get pitchers into the count a lot last year. When they had no reason to be there. This year he was just laying off those pitches, and when he's laying off those pitches, that is what can take him to the next level of player. Is when he's only swinging at strikes, and that's what we saw these first few games. And like I said, the power hasn't come, but you can tell he's still hitting the ball really, really hard. Like I said, the patience and the plate discipline is the best that we've seen it. So yeah, it's just a bummer. Like it's just a big, big blow to, the excitement that we should be having. It sucks. Plain and simple, sucks.
That's it. And it has been exciting. The catches return, the production of the player. Like offensively, this team has been good so far. So yeah, this takes out a lot of that excitement. But hey, it is what it is, right? Next man up. Season still got to go on. Players can't all come and sulk and be in their feelings because Oneil Cruz is out and cancel the season now. So maybe let's talk about that. Let's go pivot to the next step. and see what this team might do. So we did talk. Is it going to be Matthias? Is it going to be Marcano? Seems like the Pirates have made their decision.
Yeah, I mean, nothing official yet. Cody Duncan on Twitter said that he's been told that, it's going to be Matthias as the next guy up. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But that's the one, I guess, report that, we have right now. But I think at the end of the day, whoever's being called up, that player is going to be taking on much more of a like a bench role. And I think what you'll see now is Bay and Castro pretty much slide into your mostly everyday player roles. So you're probably seeing Castro at short. You're probably seeing Bay at second. And then that means you're opening up more outfield appearances as well for Sawinski and for Joe and for Smith and Jigba. So yeah, we'll see what's done. Like I said, we'll get a name here officially probably today, I would imagine. I don't know if I could see them starting Cruz off on the 10-day IL and moving him to the 60, or maybe just putting him on the 60 immediately. I don't know if they need the 40-man spot right away. We'll see what they do. But yeah, just that's probably what we're going to go with. So you look at, Bay, Castro, more playing time now. This is an opportunity for Matthias or Marcano, right? Because Marcano is going to be right there now if something happens. Both of them having really, really good starts down in Indianapolis. I know the 2 games that I was at this past week, Tucupita Marcano looked excellent, like hitting the ball hard all over the field. But same thing. Mark Matthias has performed really well down there these first 1.5 weeks or so. He's batting .333 with a .926 OPS himself. So yeah, we'll see what these guys have to. We already kind of know what Marcano is. I think Matthias is the shiny new toy that not really a shiny new toy, but
new.
He's a new thing.
Maybe not even so much new.
Not even a toy.
It was a toy they got off eBay, right? For like
Yeah.
a pretty decent price.
Yeah, they got Matthias at like the thrift store, secondhand market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But I do anticipate that it's going to be a lot of Bay. It's going to be a lot of Castro. Let's say you'll probably see more Connor Joe, Sawinski, Smith and Jigba. It's just everybody's going to have to play. Everybody's going to have to step up. It's kind of like I said, McCutchen had a good quote yesterday that, I know it's cliche, but you've got one guy you've got to replace, but you've got, 6 people on this team essentially that are going to be used to try to replace that. Now, are they going to be able to mirror Cruz's impact on the field? I mean, absolutely not. No. There are no other Oneil Cruzes in this organization. There are no Oneil Cruzes in the major leagues. So that's like you've got to expect some sort of a there's going to be some sort of a adjustment there, but you got to find a way for these 6 guys to somewhat make up for that production.
Yep. Now, the way I looked at this, and like you said, nothing is official, but we're sensing it's probably going to be Matthias. The way I was looking at it too, because this is what we talked about heading into the season. Obviously not like an extended reason, right, to have a shortstop, but like, giving like Cruz a day off or having little looks here. There's no like real true backup shortstop. Yes, Ben Cherington has acquired a lot of shortstops by name, middle infielders, but like none of them look to be really actually panning out to be true shortstops. So like the way I looked at it and wondered too, with that said, with Bay and Castro on the team already, and we kind of look at them in that sense also, are they comfortable enough with that? Like I felt like the move might be Marcano. If deep down they feel like, we really don't think it's Castro or Bay. And I feel like if they feel comfortable enough being one of those two, it will be Matthias. Because also Matthias can also play around. I mean, not that it really makes a lot of sense, or there's not a true need for it, I should say, because there's still plenty of outfielders per se on the club, but he has more versatility in that aspect too. I mean, I feel better about Matthias than Marcano just as a player, and I'm not high on Matthias. Keep that out there. So with the potential of them going Matthias here, I think that answers that. I think they feel comfortable enough that it's going to be probably Castro Bay full-time shortstop. But you're right. Like this changed quite the dynamic. For one, as mentioned, seems like Castro and Bay are going to get plenty of playing time right now, holding down the middle infield. That opens up the Connor Joe and the CSN dilemma in the outfield, like trying to get their at bats and Sawinski. But the other thing too, like with the lineup, Bay has been performing. You need a new leadoff hitter. And I feel like that's probably just what's going to slide into. You know, we talked like I would prefer to see Bay batting ninth and the catcher spot eighth, just to give like that pseudo leadoff guy for, you know, Cruz coming up. And I think a lot of people have been talking about that. And now it just seems like this probably just opens the door for Bay to go ahead and slide into the leadoff role. So it's also like you're saying about like 6 players coming together. Like this gives him an opportunity now, you know, do some damage on the base pass that he's been doing already. You know, be that leadoff guy.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I'm sold on G1 Bay as a leadoff hitter,
That's
but
fair.
like we're in the situation now and there's not a whole lot of options. Honestly, if it's me and I'm putting this lineup together, I'm probably moving one of the veterans into that leadoff spot just because of the ability to get on base that they have. Whether that's McCutchen or Santana or Choi when he's playing, like that's probably the way I would lean just because of the ability that those 3 guys in particular have to get on base. Like I'd rather have, you know, if G-Man Choi's going to be getting on base and maybe not hitting that well, I don't know. Like, does he have more value in the 5th spot or the 1st spot? I don't know exactly, but those 3 guys in particular, like they get on base. Not so much this year so far for Choi, but well, you know, that's what he's shown in his career. But I personally would probably lean McCutchen or Santana. But I feel like they're not going to go that route. And I think they are going to go that G1 Bay route at leadoff. And he's got the speed there. He can cause the havoc. He can get on bases and just kind of create madness on the base paths. So I am curious to see how they approach this because there's a few ways they could go. They could just go the analytical route and say, hey, maybe McCutchen, honestly, with the way that he's performing right now, would probably be the most logical choice. Like the guy is putting up great at bats every plate appearance. He's walking a ton. He's walking over 20% of the time.
He's still having over 500 base.
Yeah,
base
like
right
like McCutchen from
515 on base.
Yeah, so like McCutchen would make sense. I don't know if they're going to do that. And if they don't, they're probably going that route with G1 Bay. So
I'll just put it this way.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm down for either or. This is actually one of the things that maybe very, very slightly, because of course we're also on board with Cruz leading off. But you know, we talked about like with Santana and Choi, it is what they present. They're not your typical leadoff guys, but I could imagine them potentially, if you want to get Cruz in more of an RBI type spot in the lineup, for them to be, you know, hitting leadoff. So yeah, I could certainly see that being an option. You're going back to the Cervelli days, like he wasn't your typical, or even John Jaso. Like they weren't your typical ones. This is before you, Jim, but like we're huge proponents of having like Cervelli in the leadoff role. Jaso came over and he actually did that for quite a bit. And he's not your burner like a, you know, like a G1 Bay. But yeah, like that's certainly an opportunity. Real quick, just to finish the second shot here, because you did mention this. We did talk a little behind the scenes. We're talking what the Pirates are going to do. I don't know. Is there maybe another creative way that they could look at this? And there's maybe something that we might like to do with the absence of Cruz at shortstop?
Yeah, I mean, we're already 10 minutes into this shot, but the other option that they, like I said, they could get real creative here And Ke'Bryan Hayes could be the new everyday shortstop. I think Ke'Bryan
I
Hayes
like
has the
it.
ability and the athleticism to be the everyday shortstop. And then that opens up third base, which then you've got more options, for that third base spot, especially when Triolo comes back, whenever that is. Maybe that's kind of the play is, and I don't know if that's something the Pirates would even consider doing, because I mean, we're saying this and you're like, you have the best third baseman in baseball defensively. So that, are you moving the best third baseman off of third base? But if you're the best third baseman in baseball, it might mean you're a pretty good shortstop too. So
And he has shown it. Like, obviously, when there was
yeah.
the shift in play, he has
Mhm.
played shortstop more or less
Yeah.
well.
So it's just an idea. I don't see that happening, but like this, if you want to get creative, you can move Hayes to short, and then that opens up a lot more options for you, and maybe a lot more interesting options for you for someone like Jared Triolo to get bumped up once he's healthy again. So just an idea, just a thought, probably not happening, but the ability to get creative here is there.
It is. And I think what that presents is you saying, listen, Cruz is out. We're not going to replace it by offensive production because you have Hayes, who's still, I mean, again, like we've seen signs right now, but offensively, the results aren't there. Triolo probably won't be there. So you're saying we're just going to replace it with really, really, really good defense on the left hand side of the field. That's a way.
Yeah, it'd be a different type of
But
production, but
I
it's
also
another
feel
way to
better
do it.
with Castro at third opposed to shortstop.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's some. We'll probably hear the official word today, right? What's going to happen to move and such. But it seems like Matthias, which I'm okay with. But again, ultimately, probably just means Bay and Castro are your middle infield right now going forward. So they're going to get plenty of opportunities to show what they got right now. This opens up that opportunity for them. Next man up. See what happens. All right, let's get into our final shot. Let's end this on a happy note. We talked about all the negative stuff. Fun things did happen. Andrew McCutchen returned home. Let's get into it. A fun home opening series. Again, not only just the fact that Andrew McCutchen came home, we saw the standing O he got, how much it meant to him. A huge, opening day, home opening day for the Pirates there. But they also take the series. So, yes, I understand Cincinnati didn't go too well, 1 out of 2. Then they go into Boston, sweep them, come home, 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. Pretty solid team. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Those are the big story, definitely home opener. You had Andrew McCutchen's return. You had the blackout, which the city showed up for. You had Russell Martin. You had AJ Burnett. Yeah, just a really cool atmosphere that was able to kind of come together for this home opener, and a really fun, exciting victory Friday night. And then, like I said, Sunday, bad stuff happened, but at the end of the day, they took the game, they took the series. So overall, it was a. I still would say the series was a bad series just because
It
of
was
what ended up happening,
productive.
but it was a productive series, I guess, in the terms of wins and losses. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Andrew McCutchen, like I said, first home series, and he performed really, really well. That home opener, got on base 2 times, had a hit in that first at bat. That ovation was just awesome. Just a really, really cool moment that the city of Pittsburgh deserved, Andrew McCutchen deserved, everyone deserved it, and it didn't. It didn't disappoint. And then McCutchen also gets his first home run of the year. It was a meaningless home run, but he gets his first home run of the year out of the way. So lots of stuff out of the way now. Now we can kind of focus on baseball, and now we got the Astros coming up. But Pirates are in a good spot after 3 series. They started off the season on with tough scheduling. And if you can't not count the Reds there, but yeah, it was a good way to bounce back after that first series this last week.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's what veteran presence kind of does, Jim.
Mhm.
So about that. Anyways, I want to bring up something else too. Like you mentioned it. Shout out to Pittsburgh on the whole blackout thing because like I saw a DM sent to me on Instagram how this ain't gonna work out, is it? And I was like, yeah, I don't know because it was kind of last minute. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, like
The four put it out there. I mean, it got a buzz on Twitter, but like, let's be real too. Twitter's Twitter. It's this little ecosystem. Like, is this really going to expand to the people, to the masses, to really get out there and know? Holy hell, Jim, it did. I mean, with just such short notice, pretty much everyone showed up in black. Like, it was blackout PNC. So, again, like a lot of props. I mean, the city of Pittsburgh really came together for that. Awesome job.
Yeah.
And awesome job to Fort and AJ and Kutch and like everyone helping spread the news and such. Again, like for a home opener, that was awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, couldn't ask for a better atmosphere that day. And it's kind of recreating that blackout environment that was so instrumental and memorable from 2013, 2014, those years. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see. It was a really fun day. Fun weekend, outside Sunday. Yeah. I'm really, after seeing everything, I'm really, really upset that I didn't make it. Like it's one of those moments that I feel like I would have loved to have been at. And the fact that like I wasn't able to make it up there for that, little disappointed on my part. But yeah, shout out to the city, like you mentioned, the fact they were able to throw that together and make it successful. And it was probably 36 hours, 36-hour span from the idea to implementation, and they got it done.
Exactly. Again, shout out to Pittsburgh and all the players involved. We have a little bit of time here, and that's what we want to talk about, like make this, the Kutch's return and such. And yes, like, the nostalgia was certainly there. I loved it, but Kutch means a whole lot. Clearly, the city means a lot to Kutch. Like it was just great. But let's talk a little bit about Kutch because I just really want to because, the signing, it's in his later years. It was $5 million. Not that, I mean, it was reported he could have got more somewhere else, probably. But I think we kind of questioned, like, what will Kutch present this year? He was about average, but hey, there's some reason to maybe get a little bit excited because the shift is gone. He was a big proponent, or not proponent, but he was one that got hindered quite a bit because of the shift last year and Santana. So, like, how's it going to turn out? How's it going to pan out this year? Like, I want to talk about Kutch. Like, let's really give him some props because the dude's balling out right now. But like Tyler talked about it and myself on the post game, the speed is still there. That's one thing we were talking about this whole offseason. Like, guys, like you got to recognize the speed's there. We're seeing it now. I mean, he has 2 stolen bases so far in this young season of 8 games. The bat speed is still there. Kutch looks like, I mean, he is a baseball player, and yeah, he is performing. Granted, it's still, again, just 8 games, but he's batting .375. Yeah, .375 on base, .515, slugging .583. He's got a .191 rated runs created plus, 1 home run, 2 stolen bases. I mean, Kutch is like, he's not Kutch, the guy who you remember when he left Pittsburgh, but he's performing. And if you're talking about people coming together to replace Oneil Cruz production, Kutch is one of those guys now. He's not just a token player here for the nostalgia, for the veteran leadership. I'm not going to say he's a dude, but he's closer to a dude than just a washed up player who's here because he has name recognition.
Yeah, I think the best way to put it is, he's a professional hitter. Like at this point of his career, he's been doing it for a really long time. He's been a good to great hitter running on 14 years now, right? This is I think
last year was clearly his worst. So again, like there are reasons why you could be hesitant on what he would be as a player.
but like he's got a pretty proven track record of being able to have strong at bats. He's got that really good eye that just keeps getting better and better with age, really. I mean, his walk rate has, in 2019, it increased 16% walk rate, 14% walk rate in 2021. So like the walks are still there. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's got some pop. The guy's a hitter, and he's, like I said, he's been doing it now for a decade and a half. So like he knows what he's doing up there. And it's nice to see that, because we've gone through a lot of years now where we've seen people at the plate consistently not have any idea what they're doing up there, it seems. And like McCutchen goes up there, he's got a plan, and he is good at executing that plan. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Everything's kind of clicking right now for him. Obviously, he's not going to have a 191 weighted runs created plus all season long. He's rolling right now.
Obviously.
Yeah, he's rolling right now. But at the end of the day, yeah, professional hitter. That's the way to describe him. Like, he knows what he's doing up there, and he does a good job.
Yes. So that's what I said. I wanted to make sure we wrap this up. We want to tell the return how nice it is, but Kutch is balling out.
Yes.
And it's like, that's really good to see. Like, he's not just here just to be Andrew McCutchen. He can help this team still. So kudos to everything about this weekend that transpired, minus the play and injury. But so that's that. So we'll find out the news, obviously, and we'll be talking about that on the post game of what the actual roster move is. But most likely, it seems like Matthias with Bay, Cascio getting the bulk of the reps in the middle infield.
Yeah. So as I said, Pirates are 6-3 after the weekend. They've got a 3-game set now against the Astros. So good luck there. That's going to be their biggest test so far this season is Houston. So we'll see see how that goes. Houston off to not a great start this year, but they're hitters. They can do some damage. So let's see if the pitching can hold up. It's been really good so far, for the most part.
Yeah, they tend to be able to produce those.
Yeah,
Pirates fans might know firsthand. But all right, well, let's get out of here. Appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you. We'll see you all tonight, I guess.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.